Right, okay, I'm going to start. Welcome, everybody, on this cold and damp evening to our healthy eating Zoom class with Thermomix. We've had a lot of conversations between our team about what healthy eating means, and I think it means different things to different people, but hopefully we can share tips and advice and share recipes that inspire each other to try new things. The Zoom is being recorded, as I mentioned. What I did initially is I just put what does healthy eating mean into AI, actually, and I'm just going to read you out what it says. And see what you think. Healthy eating refers to consuming a variety of foods that provide essential nutrients needed for the body to function properly. This includes an adequate balance of macronutrients, which are the carbs, proteins, and fats, and micronutrients, which are the vitamins and minerals that support growth, energy, and overall well-being. Healthy eating also emphasizes the following: balanced diet, so incorporating fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats. Portion control, eating appropriate amounts to avoid overeating or undereating. Variety, consuming a wide range of foods to ensure you get different nutrients. Limiting processed foods, so reducing the intake of high sugar, high fat, and overly processed items. And hydration, drinking sufficient water throughout the day. Healthy eating promotes long-term health, helps to manage weight, and reduces the risk of chronic diseases like diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. So that's what it tells us on the internet. I think we all have a different angle to it. We have several advisors on tonight who are going to cook. We've got Emma, we've got Sarah, we've got myself, and we've got Jo. Jo is also a practice nurse, and through her day job works in diabetes clinics and things like that. So she comes with a lot of experience. The rest of us are just Thermomix advisors. We love to cook. We're passionate, and I think probably largely through Thermomix have become super passionate about food and about healthy eating, as well as good food and treats and things like that. So we're not all, good as gold. And then we also have Katie Rothwell on, who is a pain management expert, and she'll tell you more about that in due course. And she also has a Thermomix, so she understands all of our recipes and things like that. So between us, hopefully, we'll cook some great recipes, and we will also talk about the ingredients and things like that. Other than Jo and Katie, we are not trained nutritionists or anything like that, but we're just quite passionate. We, do a lot of reading around the various subjects. I will post the links to the recipes, and I'll also try and give you the links to some of our social media handles so you can follow us afterwards. And for me, I'm just going to tell you what healthy eating means for me, and maybe you guys can put it in the chat if you want to share. For me, it's always about managing my weight. I find it quite hard to keep my weight at a good level, and I think it's about what I eat, making sure it counts and it's nutrient dense. And I'm starting to become aware of anti-inflammatory foods because I know menopause is in the post, and arthritis and things like that. For my husband, it's very different. It's probably managing cholesterol and also anti-inflammatory foods. And then for my children, I'm trying to just reduce their ultra-processed food intake to help them with focus and school and long-term health. Reduce sugar, which is really tough. And again, nutrient-dense food and a really varied diet. With that, I'm going to invite Jo into the conversation and get some proper insight from Jo. So Jo's our practice nurse and Thermomix advisor. So maybe Jo, maybe you can tell us about your day job and what that entails, so we know what information we will get from you tonight.
Yeah, so I'm a practice nurse in a local GP surgery, and I manage day-to-day practice nursing, but I also do the long-term conditions. That includes diabetes, asthma, COPD, that kind of thing. And a large part of that is new patients who have been diagnosed with diabetes, and patients that have had it for a while, or have gone from pre-diabetes to becoming diabetic, kind of educating them and getting them to understand what it means, what healthy eating means, A lot of people are really frightened and really scared, and I think there's so much data out there that it kind of everyone's mind blown, and they just can't see the wood for the trees. But my main message that I give for healthy eating is all about balance and moderation and sustainability. So you've got to be able to keep eating at the level that you choose. So there's no point in just eating salad all the time and being miserable, because you're not going to be able to maintain that for the rest of your life. So it's all about choosing a diet that's not got lots of processed food. So cutting out your refined carbohydrates, cutting out all of those processed sugars, and eating just kind of balanced, good kind of home cooked food. And that's when Thermomix comes in brilliantly.
So a perfect link to your Thermomix job and your day job.
Except I'm not allowed to promote my Thermomix job in my day job.
But we're lucky that we get your expertise from the day job. So really appreciate that. But what about you personally? What does a healthy diet look for you? What do you try and strive for?
I love food. So healthy diet for me and for my family is non-processed. So I try to cook home cooked food every day. We don't eat processed foods. And I think it's really easy to cook non-processed, quick meals. You don't need to grab those ready meals that bung in the microwave. It's really easy to chuck a bit of salmon in. It's really easy to boil a bit of pasta, make a homemade pesto or tomato sauce. It's all for us, for my family, for me, it's all about balance and not eating all those refined processed foods as much as possible. We've obviously got sweet tooths and we like to kind of grab those processed foods, but the majority of our food that we eat is freshly cooked and non-processed.
Brilliant. Thank you. And so what are you going to cook for us tonight?
So tonight I'm going to make banana and oat mini muffins. I had a trial run because this is my first time on a Zoom last night, and it made 16, and there's 5 left. So although they're healthy, so they're tiny little muffin bites. They've got no processed sugar in them. The only thing they've got in them is honey, which is proper honey, a natural sugar source, and that's from my friend's bees, who I think is watching tonight. Shall I start? Shall I go ahead?
Yeah, go for it. So these, I'll share the link on the chat, and you, just do it.
So these are really quick and easy to make. And as I say, they've got no added sugar. They're sweetened using honey and banana. So I've preheated the oven, and 24 mini muffins. So you can make them as big or small as you want. I've got like little mini muffins, but they're quite nice because they're bite size. And even though I made them yesterday, I thought they might be a bit dry today because of sugar, but actually they're still really moist. So that was quite good. So we're just popping a banana in. And then we're popping on the lid, and we're just going to blitz up that banana 10 seconds.
Cool stuff.
And it's just kind of blitzed it into a big mulch. We're then going to add macadamia oil. And macadamia oil is a really good source of vitamin E. So you don't have to use macadamia oil because it's quite difficult to get hold of. So if you can't get macadamia oil, something like corn oil, and if you've got someone's got a nut allergy, is also a really good substitute.
Okay.
Then we're going to add the honey.
A conversation I had earlier with Katie was actually about oils, and I think oils are very, very confusing.
Yeah.
But I will post a link also, because I listened to a really good YouTube chat about oils, and it's a Zoe one, and it was just very non-scaremongering, and actually just saying, you know what, seed oils aren't that bad, because I talk to people and they're like, it's the devil, it's poisonous, it's toxic. And she talked about seed oils not being that bad. Cold press is good, but even if they're processed, it's not significantly bad enough to avoid. And it comes down to cost. And she was sort of saying, stick with your virgin olive oil, but if the flavor is too strong, like if you're baking or maybe you're making mayonnaise, sunflower oil is okay. But I'll post that link because I think oils is really confusing, and I think there is so much information out there. There you go, it's there if anybody wants it. But I would, yeah, have a look at it. So sorry, you've put in the banana.
So put in flour, self-raising flour, self-raising wholemeal flour, but you could substitute. So if you didn't want to use white flour, you could go all self-raising wholemeal flour. And then I put in 50 grams of rolled oats. I put 1 egg in, and the oil, and that's it. And that then has mixed it all.
Brilliant.
Like that. It's quite runny, but when you pour it into the muffin tin, then it bakes in the oven then 175 degrees for about 15 minutes. Then it's done.
And that's it.
That's it.
So they're really good as little snacks, I guess. I guess for school, if you don't have the macadamia nuts or things like that, or for work. Have you got muffin liners in your tray, or are you just pouring it straight
No,
in?
you can. It's safe to put muffin liners in, but I've got silicone trays. So with those, so I don't need to put, because when it's cooked, they just pop straight out and they don't stick.
Right.
And then it's less waste, isn't it, with paper and stuff like that. So if you've got silicone liners, you don't need to put the muffin liners in. And you can make those because you want. So if you want them bigger for lunch boxes, and say, don't, as you said, don't use the macadamia oil in case it's a nut issue, but use corn oil or something like that. That just gives it a really nice flavour.
Brilliant.
Did you put cinnamon in it?
I did. I put 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, but that's something you can omit. If you don't, if the kids.
Well, no, I was just going to say with cinnamon for blood sugar levels, it's a natural
really good
blood sugar stabilizer. So it's quite good to add to things like porridge and sweet cakes. It's a natural balancer.
Yeah, definitely.
Good stuff. Thank you, Jo. Katie, we're going to come to you and maybe just sort of find out a bit about how you can add value to us. So tell us who you are and what you do and your day job.
Yeah, so I'm Katie. I'm also Jane's sister, but I run a chronic pain clinic. So I got into this world through massage and cranial sacral therapy because that's what helped me with my chronic back pain, and that was about 12 years ago. And I've come from a physiology background as well, but I've now created the Beat Pain methodology, encompassing everything that I've learned into a one-stop shop, really. So BEAT stands for brain, energy, activity and therapy. So there's so much healing we can do just by understanding the process of pain and how it's processed in the brain. Then the E is nutrition and sleep. So I've done a nutrition course on pain management. The A, activity. So I'm an ex-physical education officer and also a Pilates instructor. So I can prescribe exercises and tailor it to the individual. And then the T bit is the therapy that I do. So yeah, my reason for being here is because I've done that pain management nutrition course. And there's so much link with what we eat and chronic pain, because what we put into our gut can actually cause our nervous systems to become on high alert. So we've got little receptors in the gut lining that send signals to the brain. And I've done an analogy on my social media, linking it to like a military analogy, because I'm ex-military. But you've got like these little recce people looking in the gut. And if there's an increase in sugar or bad bacteria, these guys send a signal to the brain and say, we've got a load of baddies in here. So the body launches its defense system, which is pain and inflammation. So that's the link with how what goes in our gut links to how much pain we can feel.
Very cool. Very cool. So I've posted the link to your website and I've posted the link to your social media. And I do urge anybody interested in understanding about pain management or just well-being to have a look, because and to follow Katie, because she's constantly got bits of advice, and there's videos, free videos on your website. But so the recipe that Jo's just done, can you tell us, maybe give us some, I mean, you've already touched on cinnamon, but oats, honey, any, bananas,
Yeah, so, it's a nice sweet treat and we haven't got any processed sugar in that, which is really good. The thing to watch out is if you do have sugar, even if it's natural sugar, it can raise the blood sugar levels, and that can in itself be inflammatory because it causes stress on the body, and metabolic stress, to try and bring those blood sugar levels down. So that's why I think it's nice that it's got cinnamon in it. And like we said, you know, what does health mean to us? I think it's balance. We don't want to rule out all the sweet treats that we have, but let's have them in an informed way. So if you so for example, when you're going out for a restaurant and you eat your fibre first or your vinegar first, you can slow that blood sugar level increase and therefore have less of a stress on the body. You've got your bananas, your macadamia nuts. So you've got a bit of plant variety. So Tim Spector goes on about getting 30 different plant species into your gut each week, which is actually easier than you think when you think of all the spices and the nuts and the seeds, you know, mixed seeds on a salad. The oats, you want to look out for oats that are as minimally processed and therefore higher in fibre. And also, Tim Spector would say that oats is possibly one of the things that if you can go organic on, because there's a lot of pesticides and stuff used when growing oats. Those and probably berries and things. If you can go organic, go on those too. But obviously you can't, if you can't afford to go organic on everything, then prioritize. So yeah, that's what I'd say on that one. Oh, the egg. If you get free range egg, you get more vitamin D. So we can be quite restricted on our vitamin D here in the UK. And there are ways of getting vitamin D in the diet, but it's through animals that are in the sunshine themselves. So free range.
Ah, didn't know that. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. What we'll do is we're going to go to Sarah. Sarah, are you ready? Sarah's going to make a anti-inflammatory smoothie. I'm just trying to. Are you there, Sarah?
Yep, I'm here. I'm just looking to flick the camera over.
Sure.
Oops.
I think you're on the mute and unmute, but if you, yeah, just pop the cat. There we go. Oh, the cat. That was. There you go.
There we go.
Thank you. So, there's Sarah.
Have you got me?
And your cameraman. We've got your cameraman.
No, I've got Johnny. Hang on. Sorry, Johnny. I haven't switched it.
There we go. Sarah, lovely.
Oh, and my Thermomix is switched off. So talking about what do I think about healthy eating? Well, I think in this household, lowering cholesterol, although Johnny's now on statins, you don't mind me divulging that, Johnny, so he hasn't got to worry about it, which is just really bizarre. So maybe I'll join him on those. But for me, it's about keeping my weight steady or dropping a few pounds. I like intermittent fasting, so I quite often skip breakfast. Yeah, I'm probably not the healthiest eater. I haven't got a sweet tooth, but I would like to cut out sugars. Anti-inflammatory is really important for me because I have got arthritis, but I take curcumin and turmeric, and that seems to keep it under control. So I certainly don't have the pain, but my hands are a bit sort of knobbly. It's weird though, isn't it? Because my mother, who lived to 96, probably never had any blood tests, but she loved sugar. She loved fat. She liked clotted cream on her toast with golden syrup when we've been to Devon, and managed to get through life quite well. But I just think now we're all so much more focused on our health, which has got to be a good thing. But you know, it can be difficult. We go away on holiday a lot. We're going next week to South Africa, and I know we'll be wining and dining, and I'll be just thinking, oh my God, you know, what's this doing to my body? But it probably won't stop me. Anyway, I am making today a smoothie, and it's an anti-inflammatory smoothie, pineapple and turmeric. So I know that Katie is going to talk about the benefits of the ingredients. So what I'm doing, I'm making the smoothie, so easy, simple, 2 minutes of blending. But what they suggested in the tips was turning it into an ice cream. And it does make quite a lot. It makes 1,200 grams. I was surprised. And it's for 2 people. There's no way I could have drunk half of that. We had a go with it yesterday, and we just sort of had half a glass each. And then I froze, I got 4 of these ice cube trays, and I froze probably half of it, I would think. And then I turned it into ice cream, and I'm going to show you the ice cream when I finished. So let's start cooking quickly. So we've got the pineapple. I haven't bothered to freeze this today because I'm going to freeze the mixture afterwards. So we've got the pineapple, the banana, which I did freeze, because obviously if you're having this immediately, the more icy things you can get into it, the better it is. I like slushy, cold things. 200 grams of ice. Okay. Turmeric. Now, I've got yellow fingers because I did this quickly. Turmeric's really a bit odd, isn't it? When they were like little ones and they just look like horrible fat caterpillar, those chrysalises. Anyway, we won't worry about it because it's very good for you. I've got my turmeric and the ginger's in there as well. Some mint, and the mint taste came through quite well, so I put a little bit less in today. 1 lime, flesh only. 100 grams of spinach. Not that you would know. Okay. 90 through. And then 100 grams of walnuts, and it said soaked or activated, which I hadn't heard of before. Activating involves soaking them and then drying them out in a dehydrator or your oven. I've just soaked them because I think it's going to be absorbed better in the blender. And walnuts, I think, are one of the best nuts for health. I know my son, who's a bit of a health freak, eats walnuts every day, and they can lower cholesterol, so I'm going to start eating them every day as well. 300 grams of coconut water. And now I'm going to be switched off and Katie's going to chat to you because this is going to blend for 2 minutes.
Cool. So Katie, you know what all the ingredients were in there. Shall I quickly?
I do, because I use this recipe for my clients. Whenever I do a well-being day, this is what's on offer because I absolutely love it. And it's anti-inflammatory in its very nature, which is my business. So pineapple, if you use the core of the pineapple, now I know when you buy frozen pineapple, I don't know whether it includes the core, but certainly fresh pineapple, do not bin the core, because the core contains bromelain, which is an amazing anti-inflammatory. So that's the pineapple for you. The as Sarah said, the turmeric, the active ingredient in turmeric is called curcumin, and that's an amazing anti-inflammatory. There's been studies done in India where they use it in so many dishes that it actually brings down the incidences of things like cancers, etc. So it's such a great ingredient. It's also got your spinach in there, so your leafy greens, which is a major ingredient for anti-inflammatory. The coconut water, again, like we said, with cinnamon, can help stabilize blood sugar levels. And it's also got short chain fatty acids, I think. I might have to double check that one. But that's then really good for feeding your good guys in your gut, which is obviously really important for your gut health. And the walnuts, so because I always remember this, because they're like brain shaped, they're actually really great for brain functioning. And given that a lot of pain is processed in the brain, if we've got optimal brain function, then we're less likely to experience pain. But it also is a great source of magnesium and zinc, which helps to calm the nervous system. You've probably heard of magnesium for sleeping, etc., because it helps to put us in that rest digest mode. I think I've covered. Ginger is very similar to turmeric. And I just hope you don't mind a little plug here. But this Alchemy Gold drink is made by a local chap who suffered with arthritis so badly that he had to stop his job of doing carpentry. And his nephew was a nutritionist, and he's formulated this that has curcumin, apple cider vinegar, honey, lime. It's got the fat in there to transport the curcumin. Did your recipe have black pepper in it?
No, it didn't.
So you need the black pepper to help transport the curcumin into the bloodstream.
Okay.
And you also need the fat because it's fat soluble, which is why this has the oil in it.
Yeah.
And I think what fat, you've got walnuts as fat in that, so that will help transport that curcumin in. So there's no point having curcumin when you're not going to absorb it properly. And like I was just saying with Sarah, we are so focused, aren't we, on diet and healthy living. But like I said to a client recently, she says, look, I'm still got my back pain and I'm having curcumin and I'm doing all the stuff that you say diet wise, but she's so mega stressed out. And as I said to her, you can turmeric the shit out of your diet, but if you don't sort out your stress levels, you're still going to be in pain. And I think that's where we're at. Our lifestyles are so stressful that we've got to look at not just diet to improve our health. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's
I
just...
guess it's I'm going to come back to you, Sarah. I guess it's that overall, everything has an impact, and we should be looking at everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, really interesting. Right, back to you, Sarah. Thank you, Katie.
Hi. Well, it's all done. I added a little bit more coconut water at the end as suggested. So as you can see, it makes a huge amount, and that is meant to be for 2. And then I popped my mint in the freezer, so it's gone a bit black because I just fished it out. I forgot to keep some back. So there we are. There's our healthy. Hang on.
And it actually tastes quite nice, doesn't it?
It tastes really nice, because I was saying to Katie, should I put a what was I going to say? Should I put a date in it just to sweeten it up? And she said, no, it doesn't need it for the pineapple. And it absolutely doesn't. But what I also have done to the ice cream, which is here in a nice Thermomix container, I'm just going to scoop it. It has been in there for a little while, so it's slightly sorbet-ish. But I personally would like this because I prefer this, I think, to actually having a smoothie. And because it makes such a huge amount, then I just wouldn't get through that. And it only lasts a day in the fridge. So much better. Obviously, I needed to leave it to soften a little bit because then it would have been sort of more creamy. But I did add, although they didn't recommend it, I added a little tin, half a tin of coconut cream. Just because I thought ice cream, it would make it a little bit sort of smoother. And I think it did, but you don't need to do that. So yeah, it really does taste good. And I'm hoping that with the anti-inflammatory properties, it will help my arthritis.
Amazing. And so maybe next time add a bit of black pepper to help absorb more of the turmeric.
Oh yes, good idea.
Yeah, you don't taste it, honestly.
No, I will do. Thanks, Jane.
Very cool. Emma, we're going to come to you.
Okay.
So there you are. Tell us what health means to you and what you're going to cook.
Well, like everybody on here tonight, I try to be an advocate for healthy living and combine it with exercise to look after my body and then advocate it to the family as well. I enjoy a really varied diet. I'm not a vegetarian. I think vegetarian food is wonderful. I think the idea of veganism has some very clever recipes, but I'd rather not eat manufactured food. So I'm sort of at the heart of what I like to do is cook from scratch and use vegetables and nuts and seeds and sweet fruits and things like that. So variety is key. I try to use whole foods in my cooking to boost our well-being and reduce those ultra-processed foods. And I like to think that I've passed on this philosophy onto my 2 children who are now young adults, and they've got a good awareness about well-being. And then, like everybody else, we try to reduce our sugar consumption, but we aren't perfect. I just think, if you've made it at home, it's going to be better for you than eating shop bought. That said, if needs must, we're not perfect, like I said. So that's us, and that's me.
Oh, and so what are you going to cook?
And then tonight I'm going to make a beetroot soup, which is really good for gut health. Bacteria play an essential role in keeping us healthy. And there's loads of information out there, and we're talking about it tonight. And we'll keep our gut health healthy by doing all of the things that we're talking about, eating a wide range of plant-based foods, eating more fibre, avoiding highly processed foods, Introducing probiotic foods such as live yogurt might also helps. Choose extra virgin olive oil over other fats when you can. And remembering that if you're taking antibiotics, that they kill the good gut bacteria. So we need to make sure that we eat foods that boost the microbes afterwards. So the key ingredients in my soup are beetroots, cashew nuts, onions and apples. And they're wonderful prebiotic superheroes. Hope you're going to agree with that, Katie.
Yeah.
Meaning made great, meaning that a broad range of beneficial bacteria also get to have a wonderful meal every time you eat these ingredients. And then apples contain pectin, which is a prebiotic that only certain species like to feed on. So by including apple in your diet, you can ensure these species don't starve out. So you've got lots of health-giving properties from the ingredients in this recipe. You know, researching it quite extensively in preparation for tonight, and you know they're all good at playing a part in managing our body's consumption, processing of the foods, and doing things like supporting heart health and digestive function, suppressing inflammation, managing blood sugar, good for heart health, eating antioxidants like vitamin C, calcium and potassium, and low in carbs. And all of those things are coming through in the veg that are here today. So I'll start the cooking because it takes time. It's 2 cooking processes, about half an hour in total. I need to get going. The first ingredient is cashews. So I'm going to put 70 grams of cashews into the bowl and give them, and it said that they needed to be dry roasted or activated, like in Sarah's recipe. So there's a lot of research about soaking them. I did a quick soak and then I dehydrated them in the oven at a very low temperature. So I'm just going to blitz these for 6 seconds.
I've just put the link to this soup on the chat, so you can see it there. I will also just go into Cookie Do at the end of the session and just show you a few tips on how to search for various different recipes. Cookie Do is just incredible in terms of the knowledge that's on there and the information and advice. So we'll do that at the end.
Sorry.
You've just come back to me. I have whizzed up the cashew nuts. I've got a crumb size powder, and I'm going to just start off the recipe and put 180 grams of onion into the bowl, and I'm using red onion and white onion. So the red onion is rich in antioxidants, and I have discovered today in preparation for this that onions are highly nutritious, and Katie, you may agree, they contain antioxidants and compounds that may reduce the risk of heart disease. They lots and lots of things. They may help boost bone density. They've got antibacterial properties, may boost digestive health, and contain anti-cancer compounds. And so onions are absolutely great. And of course, it's quite easy to get onions into your diet.
And I love the fact that you've got red onions and brown onions, because the more colourful our veg is, the more polyphenols we have. So the more variety we're feeding our little guys in our gut, which is amazing. And I do find whenever you just do a quick Google on a whole food, whether it's a vegetable, a nut, a seed, so many of the benefits are so similar, great antioxidant, anti-cancer, lowers blood sugar levels. And I think we can, again, overcomplicate things. But if we're eating a whole food diet, we're going to, and a varied diet, so lots of variety of plants, then we're going to get all of these things without overthinking whether it's good for our brain or good for our heart or whatever. So yeah, I love this. This is a recipe I do quite a lot because it's so colourful as well. It's great on a winter's night, and because it's colourful, it's got all those polyphenols in.
Amazing. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for saying that. And it's the same with carrots as well, because carrots are orange and purple, so you can get those, get the various nutrients from the different coloured carrots. The recipe called for the carrots, 100 grams, and 50 grams of celery, which has got loads of health benefits to it. Unfortunately, there's somebody in this house who won't eat celery, so I tend to avoid it. And I've popped a couple of radishes in, which come from, I think, a different plant family. And
Did you try fennel?
I didn't have any fennel. It was a good suggestion that you made, but I didn't have any to try. And we like fennel in this house.
That's brilliant, because fennel is really good for digestion.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I'm making a soup. Anything goes in a soup, really.
Yeah,
So it would have been really easy to substitute that in, but it was only 50 grams. So, and I had a couple of radishes, so I thought, oh, I'll pop those in instead.
Save money.
So then I have blitzed them all up in the bowl, just took 5 seconds. I've scraped the sides of the bowl down, and I'm going to add extra virgin olive oil. You know, we're having this discussion about oils and what sort to use. I generally cook with extra virgin olive oil, and if I'm cooking at a higher temperature, then I might use a corn oil or a sunflower oil or a mixed olive oil, which isn't extra virgin, because I think it's nice to save the extra virgin for the soups and the salad dressings. So at this stage in the recipe, I've added the oil. I've got 7 minutes of cooking time, so we can probably move on to the next person, and I'll come back to you.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks, Emma.
Thanks.
Can I just ask Emma, has she added stock yet?
Not yet. No, I don't think so.
I'll come on to that then in a minute.
Yeah, okay. And I can sort of talk a little bit about stock as well. Right.
Sarah had a quick question about, could you use the ginger and turmeric paste if you don't have turmeric? Absolutely. Still got turmeric in it, and ginger's almost as good as turmeric anyway.
I was also told, Katie, though, when actually we were there together at one of the food shows, and I've been to a couple, that the turmeric you get as a powder has very little of the active ingredient in. So sometimes if you are doing it for health, and I imagine if you're doing it from the raw product, it's really good, you know, if you're making your bone broth and things like that. But like this one I got, and it's got cinnamon in it, but it's also got black pepper in it as well, and you can sort of make a quick turmeric latte. And then this one is where you just put like 1/8 of a teaspoon. We got the same one, Katie, but it was quite interesting. She was saying, you know, the jar that you get in Tesco's or Sainsbury's is like 2% active, and these are like maybe 4 or 6 or something like that. I don't know, but I was a sucker and fell for it.
And me.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I've steamed a chicken, and I don't know if anyone's on here been to our cooking class in Tring. We did a no waste one, and I was going on about steaming chickens there, so I feel like I'm constantly talking about steaming chickens, but this has become a bit of a staple in our house. There are several recipes to steam chicken on Cookie Do, and I kind of don't bother with all the seasoning, things like that. I literally get my mixing bowl, I put 1 litre of water in it, I then get my varoma, I put my chicken inside. So I'll show you that. I've done this already. It is slightly half eaten, but it doesn't look pretty, it doesn't look great, but the meat that comes off it is so succulent and tender that we used a bit of it earlier to feed the kids a bit of pasta, and then I'm going to use it for salad now, and then I'm going to portion it all up, pop it into little takeaway things, and put some in the freezer, some in the fridge, and I think then I've got it to, you know, for added protein to add to soups, to salads, wraps and things like that. We rely a lot on ham sandwiches, and I've just, you know, I think we were eating too much of ham because ham's always going to be processed, and so that steamed chicken, I would give it a go. Again, you don't have to worry about all the seasoning rubs and things like that. If you just want it really quickly, 1 litre of water, and then you can set your time yourself. 60 minutes is what the recipe says. So I just go up to 60 minutes. I then click on the temperature, put it on varoma, and then set it to speed 1 or 2 and walk away. And then you've got this amazing protein that is ready to go with no added bits and pieces. So I highly recommend doing the steamed chicken. Now I'm going to do spiralized cucumber salad. I'll put the recipe up once I've finished. Now, I don't know if you've seen on our social media, but Thermomix have just released a spiralizer. So we're all messing around with it, trying to make it work, and it's brilliant. It comes off the back of having the cutter. So I'm going to use that in the recipe today. So you need the cutter first because the spiralizer works with the cutter. And I'll talk through it all as I make it. So let me just make my space here and bring you a bit closer. Okay, so the recipe I'm going to do, if I go to my week, it's a very quick cucumber. It's called Korean spiralized cucumber salad. And I'm going to click on start cooking. So it's asking me to weigh the cucumbers. It's saying to use 2 cucumbers. It's a recipe for 4. I'm only going to do it for 2, so I'm just going to do half the amount of cucumber, but I think I'll do the normal amount of everything else because I'll probably do the other cucumber tomorrow for lunch. So set your whole cucumber aside, and then there's a video on your screen of how to use the cutter and the spiralizer, so don't be afraid. Okay, so it tells you put the cutter shaft into the mixing bowl. Maybe don't tip it up. And insert the spiralizer blade. Slightly nervous about doing this because, like I said, tonight was the first time I've used it. You get with the spiralizer, you get 2 blades. Be careful because they're going to be sharp. One is going to give you a corkscrew and the other is going to spiralize. So I've got the green one, number 2, and it's going to spiralize. And you just put it inside your little triangle thing. And then this all comes with it, goes in there, hopefully, or does it that way? There we go. And then, where is it? Well, then that just goes on top, I think. No, it doesn't. It needs to be put in, doesn't it? Well, I practice this as well. Where is it? How's your soup going, Emma?
I would just like to come in at this point and say I've got a minute and a half left on the cooking. You okay for me to talk for a second while you find your
perfect. While I find my missing part.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, and I'll probably do it off camera because of the way the cooking and the time is going this evening, is I've got 600 grams of beetroot here, which is cut into small 2 to 3 centimeters. And I am going to be adding the beetroot and an apple. So these are the superheroes of the recipe. And then I'll also be adding the liquid chicken stock, which I made from boiling the chicken carcass in water with herbs and a bit of salt and seasoning and so on. And if you add herbs to your chicken stock, parsley, oregano and thyme, they're particularly good for anti-diabetic and have anti-inflammatory properties. So we're getting these nutrients from our herbs in lots of different ways. And the chicken stock is again, it's really useful for our bodies, for improving bone density, bone strength, anything. Collagen, anything else that you can think of there, Katie? I haven't got a list actually here. I'll just move on to the next stage of the recipe. But
can I just add a couple of things there?
Please, yes.
So with the herbs, absolutely right. You know, as I said, leafy greens of any sort form. I've just had like my little herb flower bed out the back has just grown so much with all this rain. So I cut it all back and blitzed it in the Thermomix and then whizzed it up with some olive oil and put it in ice cubes. So then I'm going to have it all the way through the winter, some nice fresh herbs. And another idea is to whiz it up with Greek yogurt. And then you've got, you know, your probiotics with the Greek yogurt and you've got a perfect little dip there for whatever. some carrots or whatever, maybe some
Yeah.
crisps. And then with the stock, so amazing that you've done the homemade stock. Be really careful if you buy shop bought stock that you're checking the ingredients for MSG. Now, MSG has quite a bad press, but it's really hard for us to kind of completely avoid it because it's in nearly all the sauces that you know, even if you do try and eat a clean diet, I still have things like, you know, soy sauce or a marinade or something, and it's probably got MSG in it. But the link to that with people in pain is the glutamate can activate the neurotransmitters that basically make the brain hyperactive. So when you've got a hyperactive brain, that can oversensitize the nervous system, which with someone in chronic pain is not a good thing because we want to desensitize the nervous system. So anything you can do to avoid glutamate, such as making your own stock, is amazing. But we do need some form of glutamate in the diet, and you can get it in the form of red meat and stuff, but just try and avoid that MSG.
Well, I'm done.
Cool.
Thanks, Katie. That's great. It's and that's one of the cost-saving ideals as well. You know, we get from making our own stocks and stock. I keep vegetable stock paste in the fridge.
Yeah,
it keeps for
amazing.
months. Yeah, and of course the salt and sugar or higher content of sugar in the and preservatives and fillers and so on in the shop bought stock. So it's a really good way of cost saving. So I've added the beetroot and the apple here, and they're in chunks, and I'm just going to whiz them for 10 seconds. So it'll go quiet probably
Cool stuff.
while we blitz this.
I'll jump on when you're finished. I haven't missed a piece. I just couldn't put it together. It was all fine.
Well, the next, I've talked about the stock. The stock is here. I'm going to pour that into the bowl in a moment. And you can see I've got the beetroot, lovely colour there for the soup, and nice and full in the jug. I'm going to pour the stock in there and cook it for 20 minutes and then blitz it at the end with a bit of lemon juice in it. I'll add the nuts in, pepper, a little bit of salt if it needs it, and that essentially is the soup. Much like you'd make any soup, a nice combination of ingredients there to particularly target the gut health. So I'll blitz it at the end, and then if you want to serve it with a few drops of kefir milk, so it's got the cultures in it to further assist the gut, and some little watercress leaves. Again, one of the dark green leafy veg. It's a sort of a superfood. It's one of the recently. It's not recently discovered because the Romans used it years ago, but it's one that's resurged, if you like. So a really great combination of ingredients in this particular recipe. So I'll just carry on with that and I'll show you what I've got later.
Thanks, Emma. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, panic over. Okay, back. So all you do is that just goes in. There's no cover. I just hadn't clipped it in. Okay, so it's the green spiralizer, and then that just clicks onto the shaft that's in there. Just keep the disc in line with the handle, and then put the lid on, and also just try and keep that disc at the bottom so you can see it at the bottom of the feeder tube. You then have a separate feeder tube similar to your cutter, but not quite the same. And it's just got a few like spiky things that you can then put into your ingredient like that. So it attaches. And then we're going to put that down. If you've updated your Thermomix, you'll see with all the modes, there's a new mode for spiralizer. So you can just do this even if there's not a recipe. If you just want to spiralize a load of courgette or something for a bolognese. Excuse me.
Jane, does it use the same? Does it use the same apparatus as the cutter, or does that all come with the spiralizer?
No, we're using this is the cutter.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. The bowl is the cutter. Sorry, I'm being a numpty. There we go. So what you get with the spiralizer is that
The blade
with these two different cogs. And then you get this second pusher, which attaches to your ingredient.
So you need a cutter first?
Yes,
Yeah.
you do. And the cutter is £99 and the spiralizer is £40. But if you make a referral to us, you can get just got to do this. You've got a 50% discount on your spiralizer. But yes, you do need the cutter first. Okay, right.
Sorry, Jane.
I'm gonna spiralize this bloody cucumber. All right, so that goes in, and you place the pusher on. Okay, and you get the spiralizer mode. I know you can't really see it, it's really glary. You just have to trust me. And you just turn that on, and then you have to push quite, a decent amount of pressure and push it down. I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to do the other half of the cucumber, because I didn't do it in one go, because otherwise I think it would have not spiralized quite so well. I'm turning that on again. I'm just going to go again. So this is just one cucumber. You need quite a bit of pressure on. Press it to stop, and then click on next, and it says transfer to a bowl and set aside. Now, bearing in mind, I'm just doing one cucumber, but the recipe calls for 2. And you've got this, let me show you. It's really cool. This spiralized cucumber. Okay. So now I'm going to put that in the salad bowl. It's very watery as well, obviously. And then get on with the rest of the recipe. Always remember to take the shaft bit out, because if you chop it with that in, you will chop it up. And it tells you to do that. So fingers crossed you won't mess that up. And then the recipe is asking for a red chili. And this is like an Asian style dressing. So I've just put in 1 little red chili, 5 grams of coriander leaves. Open packet. Like I said, I'm going to do the full recipe for this because I'll just use half of it again tomorrow. So I love coriander. 5 grams of coriander, 2 garlic cloves, ready to go. Insert the measuring cup. Need the lid. There we go. Click on next. 3 seconds, that's all it takes, and on speed 7. So just quickly going to whiz up that chili and the garlic and the coriander. Click on next, scrape down the sides. So can you see it? It's just a really nice chopped up coriander, garlic and chili. Okay. Now I'm going to add 30 grams of olive oil. There we go. Click on next. Korean chili. Oh, can you hear those dings? Sorry, that's not my messages. Right, a tablespoon of Korean chili. I haven't got Korean chili paste, but I've got another chili paste. So I'm just going to use that and hope that it's good. There we go. In it goes. Imagine this is going to be quite fiery, to be honest. Right, and then simmering basket, and this is just going to simmer away for 3 minutes at 120 degrees. If I click on preview, it just says transfer to your bowl of cucumber. Add some rice vinegar into your Thermomix bowl with some sugar, some light soy sauce, 2 pinches of salt, and then mix that up for 20 seconds. Pour that onto your cucumber. Serve it as a side dish topped with sesame seeds. So I just dry fried some sesame seeds. And then what I'm going to do is just slice some of my lovely steamed chicken and have a nice warm chicken salad.
So you could do that instead of noodles if you're trying to cut down on carbs, couldn't you?
Yeah, I think it's a lovely light lunch. And then equally, if you're trying to cut down on carbs, spiralize your courgette and have it with something like that, or carrots and things like that. So yeah, I think it will be a lovely little attachment to have with the cutter to moving forward. what I also just wanted to quickly show you is I'm going to share my screen, if that's okay. What time is it? We're nearly at the half hour, because I'm going to show you a bit of cookie dough, because there's so much on cookie dough that I think if you're using it well, you can get so much out of it. Now, this is if you're on the explore side of cookie dough, the explore page, you can see here there's a video on the spiralizer. Learn about the spiralizer, learn about the cutter. There's so much information on there. These are the latest recipes. So obviously they've created new collections to show off the spiralizer. But keep going all the way down and you've got your collections. These collections can really give you loads of inspiration for what to cook if you ever get stuck in a rut. But the recipes we did today, if I go to my week, when you go into the recipes, what I would do is just always be aware of which collection they come from. So the one Joe did is a lower GI. It's an Australian New Zealand recipe. You can go into that collection and see what else is in there. Similar, this anti-inflammatory pineapple turmeric smoothie that Sarah did has come from this Quirky Everyday, another Australian New Zealand recipe collection. Go in there. And I'm going to lastly just show you the soup that Emma did. This collection is a gut health collection, you know, and then you can click on there and you find all these other recipes to do with it. So lots of ways to explore. Click on explore and let's say you go keto and you can look up keto recipes. They're all there, or change this to collections and you get these various different collections. Now I'm getting them in different languages because my English is obviously ticked off. But I hope that, you know, you are searching cookie dough in all these different ways and you find a recipe, share recipes with friends and they lead to different recipes from similar collections. Last thing to say is just double check that your profile, double check your filters. If you go in and you have to do it through the website, not through the app, and you want to change your settings, take away bits of things that you've got. So now, you know, if you get the cutter, add in that you've got the cutter and it will show you recipes for the cutter, and update your filter here, and then that will become your default. By default, if you haven't done anything to your filters, you'll be stuck on the United Kingdom. And as you've just seen, a lot of the recipes we've done are Australia, New Zealand, and the Australian recipes are amazing. So I think it's really important to explore cookie dough to its fullest. That has pretty much taken us to the end of the Zoom. Any questions, let us know. Remember, if you want the spiralizer, it can't be bought through the normal e-shop, Vorwerk e-shop. You have to contact your advisor and we can order it for you. But equally, if you've got a friend interested in a Thermomix, maybe get them along, and if they buy a Thermomix, then you can get the spiralizer for half price. Obviously, we've got our hosting demo gifts as normal, £30 vouchers. Any questions? No? I think we'll finish. I think a massive thank you to you all for joining us. We've got another Zoom at the end of the month, I think, about Halloween, so completely different to tonight's. We're all scattered all over sort of Hertfordshire, Buckinghamshire, Reading area, and are always willing to do demos. We love to do them. We've got a cooking studio in Tring with lessons every Tuesday, which are proving really popular. So now we've added an evening class as well, and next week we're doing curry because it's, I think, International Curry Week. So do come along. And thank you, Katie, for joining us and giving us all of your knowledge and sharing it. It's been really useful, and I really do urge everybody to go and follow Katie, because the information that she's constantly releasing is a bit of a, I personally, I know she's my sister and you probably think I'm biased, but I do find it really interesting and fascinating. And
Thank you, Jane.
I've made a lot of changes myself off the back of it. And thank you, Joe, for sharing your expertise from your clinics and your patients and your diabetic clinic. So we're very lucky to have had you both, and obviously Sarah and Emma as well, for doing your recipes. And with that, we bid you a good night.
Good night.
See you all soon, I hope. Take care. Bye.